True.
Yeah.
We'll track that down later. We'll get the skinny on those mulligans. It does appear that Chris is mulliganing.
We do know Shane was in 5th. Chris was in 4th.
That was going into round.
No, but I have the I updated it here to the side.
It. Well, look at you go. Yep,
Yeah,
that is exactly what we need then.
So Shane is in 5th.
That means Chris is on the play, which means he's definitely on a mulligan. So that's a mull to 6 for Chris. Shane apparently keeping 7, and both players with lands.
So Temple Garden, Sun Petal Grove. Chris plays
Thalia.
Thalia. That is a nice start.
That's real rough for the blue-white flash deck. Not the 2-drop they'd like to see. Strangler, guys, please attack me for 2 for the rest of the game. Please, please.
Augur of Bolus from Shane is going to at least keep Thalia from doing too much damage.
Yep.
But you know, the real damage is that extra mana that she's forcing him to pay. So.
Yeah, the blue-white flash deck has a lot of efficient spells, but those spells become significantly less efficient when Thalia is involved. Augur of Bolus, definitely a big part of making sure you don't just outright die to her because it relieves the pressure, and then it's just really a sphere of resistance that only affects one of you, which is, you know, still pretty good, but not backbreaking.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this blue-white flash deck, it doesn't have a lot of answers to resolved creatures. I mean, if Thalia attacks, he can pay 3 to Azorius Charm it. He can pay 2 to unsummon it if he wants, but that's not a very permanent way of dealing with these guys. He really would like to counter them on the way down or just ignore them.
We just attacked with our Silverblade Paladin Soulbond Thalia. We're offering a trade here, but our opponent does not appear to be interested in
Thalia's first strike.
Yeah, now it is double strike.
Yeah.
So it would be able to trade with the Augur of Bolus, but it looks like Shane just decided to take 4 instead.
Well, how would it trade with Augur of Bolus? Augur doesn't have first strike.
Yeah, but it's a 1/3. It deals 2 to the Augur, and then regular damage resolves, and they trade.
I think I just missed something there.
Normally, Thalia doesn't trade with Augur of Bolus.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. Sorry. I misunderstood the
I'm really confused as to
situation.
why would Shane... I'm trying to get a read on his hand here. Why would he not trade? That seems like a really sweet trade, unless his hand is just very weak. Even then, it seems like pretty sweet. And it looks like he has no white mana and a multiple Restoration Angels, so maybe his plan is to try and get value out of those. Chris is no longer interested in that trade. He's not going to try it again.
Yeah.
You notice? I think that was like a really aggressive attack on his end, and it just happened to pay off nicely. Maybe there's also the fear that this would happen. Double striking Strangler guys would follow up, and then Shane would have no way to block 8 damage coming at him on the next turn if he did block. So,
and a Thought Scour from Shane dumps another Thought Scour and a Glacial Fortress.
No, we're playing. We gave the start. There's a match going.
Yeah, I think what I was thinking was, okay, Thalia has double strike, so she does 4, so kills the Bolus. But I was thinking,
she doesn't get first strike twice.
Yeah, it's like, wait a second, she doesn't have actual 4 power.
Well, now we've got that Restoration Angel online, but I'm not sure if it's in time to actually stop these beatdowns. Chris obviously aware of the possibility of Restoration Angel. I would probably just be holding back my Silverblade Paladin in this situation, because that way the Restoration Angel can't kill it, and the Azorius Charm couldn't possibly put it on top of my deck.
Right, yeah, you just hold that back and
just jam
protect the Soul Bond, yeah.
Because all the other creatures are... Ooh.
And he's going in with the Silverblade Paladin.
We have to attack with, I think, basically everything if we attack with that.
Well, here come 2 Strangle Roots, 1 undead.
I think I would send the Thalia if this is our play, because at this point, we've reached the point where Thalia is not actively crippling our opponent anymore. He has, 4 going to 5 mana next turn. Thalia will trade with Augur of Bolus or Restoration Angel if it blocks. So the only thing that you could do is Azorius Charm like Silverblade Paladin and then still have to take 5 while eating the Thalia, which would put him 2/5. But that's why I didn't want to attack with the Silverblade Paladin in the first place.
Well, Restoration Angel comes down, blinks the Augur, finds Azorius Charm.
Yep.
And
bottoming a Pike.
Yeah.
Bottoming a Pike is actually kind of a big deal because this deck, in this matchup specifically, really wants to reverse tempo and just deal the game out like 2 or 3 quick swings.
Yeah.
Before the opponent can, come back at you.
Yeah, and he needs the Pikes to do that, and losing 1 of 2 is a pretty big deal.
Restoration Angel's going to eat a Stranglergeist while the Augur's going to chump, and we take 2.
Temple Garden tapped from Chris. Passes back to Shane. Has a Moorland Haunt. Passes back. Leaving the Angel on defense. Pretty much has to.
Yeah. And obviously Chris is going to expect at least an Azorius Charm, maybe another Angel, maybe a Snapcaster Mage, and an Azorius Charm. A lot of possibilities. That's one of the benefits of the blue-white flash deck. It makes your opponent decide what they want to try and beat.
Yeah, it's like
And
they
then
have to
it gets to
commit,
pick.
and then you get to choose how you want to deal with it, right?
It looks like Chris is rolling on a Wolfear Silverheart, and I don't care where you're from, that guy's big game.
Yeah.
If he plays it, it'll force Shane to probably counterspell because he doesn't have an unsummon. I think Chris can safely put Shane on lacking an unsummon considering the way he's played the game.
Right. Yeah, there's been no sign of unsummon from Shane, and I think he would have used it long ago.
Yeah, so we're just going to play our Silverheart, bond with the only legal bond. Well, the only useful legal bond,
Right,
which
right.
is Stranglegeist. Unless Shane has the counter, which looks like he's going to rewind.
Ooh.
He's overpaying on that rewind.
He has
But
to
he
because of
Oh,
Thalia.
for Thalia. That means one of his lands should be tapped
Yes,
as well.
it should. He doesn't get to untap all 5.
Yeah, can
He
we
only
make sure
untaps-
he taps the land quickly before the game gets progressed? Because rewind is not a free roll with Thalia in play.
Yeah, to not untap all the lands you use to pay this spell.
Yeah.
There we
There
go.
we go.
All right. Old school rewind.
Yep. It
Urza
is pretty
Saga.
relevant. Now Chris doesn't have to play around stuff like Angel plus Unsummon. Well, he wouldn't have to do that with Thalia anyway. Yeah, this is a awkward position for Chris.
But he's at 20. Shane's at 8.
Yeah.
He's certainly got the board position. It's just one of those, like...
Right now, if he assumes correctly his opponent is an Angel, they're going to be basically at parity. Like, this attack is going to be catastrophic. So, that's one of the reasons I think I will hesitate to make it. Well, he's going to send in the Stranglegeist and the Silverblade, figuring whatever. I'll trade with an Angel, perhaps, and lose my Stranglegeist's first side, which is not even its best side. Yeah.
Alright.
We're going to Charm for 3 here.
So, Azorius Charm puts the Paladin back on top. Geist gets chumped by the Restoration Angel, comes back, a little bit bigger.
It looks like Shane has pretty much stabilized the board from here. His Angel's the biggest thing. He can control whether or not that Silverblade Paladin actually gets to do its thing. I like his spot.
He does have an additional Angel, if not 2, in hand. I
He has
think
2.
he's got
He just
2.
drew one for turn. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a Thought Scour, he's got an Augur.
This is a little greedy
So he's gonna go. He Thought Scours Chris.
to get rid of that Silverblade Paladin.
Yeah,
he
very
needed to
nice.
hit a land to really like make sure he stays ahead, and he did. But he's not going to pay 2 life for it. I would probably be willing to pay 2 life.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what his plan is here.
Yeah.
He must
I mean-
be just thinking he's gonna Azorius Charm
Right.
if
He has
has
a Azorius
to, yeah.
Charm or even Moorland Haunt if he actually needs a stone chump blocker. But
Right.
I doubt there's a situation where I would Moorland Haunt over an Azorius Charm in this particular position unless my opponent just passes, in which case I'll make a Spirit happily.
Yeah. Only one corpse in the yard, I think, for him to use that to make a spirit for the moment, but that'll do just fine. And from Chris's side, like, you really just aren't in a position where you want to, you don't want to just throw everybody in
Yeah.
and
mean,
lose
he's
one
done-
just to do 2 or 3 here, you know.
To
Well,
be fair, he's been throwing everybody in for the most
Yeah.
part. But I agree that it's not what you want to do this turn. We
lots
are
it
now
on
at the-
Smiter from Chris, and he
Sit
does
back.
pass, and there is the Moorland Haunt activation at the end of turn as you.
I am some kind of sorcerer.
Yeah, you preordained that. That was good. Spirit. And Shane untaps his 6 lands. Has a
once he,
7th.
plays that one.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's pretty far ahead. I think I'm just playing probably the Augur. Yeah. Playing the Augur safe. The other alternative is passing with Angel and Charm available, but that doesn't really work out that much because you're not maximizing the value on your Angel in the first place.
So Augur finds Syncopate, bottoming, I believe, another Augur
Yep.
in a land.
We should feel pretty safe for Shane.
Yeah, I think he must feel pretty safe. He's got Azorius Charm available. He's got another Angel available. So Smiter in by itself.
We can Charm here, or we can just chump with the Spirit. Or we can block with the Augur and Angel, which, if we were planning to Angel at the end step anyway, that is the correct line. Yep.
Yeah, that's what he does. Block with Augur.
Now this play
Restoration
does
Angel.
leave us startlingly vulnerable to Selesnya Charm. But
finds an unsummon, which cannot be cast right now,
yeah.
despite Shane's one untapped island. There is a Thalia in play.
Selesnya Charm would be a sick one.
He's only got one card in hand. It did not look like Selesnya Charm.
No,
It is an Avacyn's Pilgrim, yeah. F&M Avacyn's Pilgrim. Alright. Unsummon off the top for Shane Remelt. And
that locks it up. There's no way Chris is coming out. Shane can actually start attacking now. As soon as this deck starts attacking, it very rarely stops. That's one of the things I really like about it.
So he's gonna make it a 3-turn clock. Could swing in for 6 here.
Yep. Sending in 6, he has another Angel in his hand, and even potentially more spirits if a couple things go bad.
Yeah, holding the spirit back here, but has next turn, I assume if everything goes as Shane is planning, he just swings with Angel, Spirit twice from this point. His opponent is Hellbent, pretty much, because he's got a land in his hand. Shane doesn't know that, of course, but I'm pretty sure he just top-decked Forest.
That's not much of a top deck at all, Joey.
Not at all. I mean, it was on top of his deck. And Chris is going to go ahead and just try to take advantage of the closing window and just alpha strike.
He's really just hoping his opponent doesn't have the best possible cards here, but unfortunately for him, Shane actually couldn't have a better hand if he was stacking the deck. He has Azorius Charm, Unsummon, and Restoration Angel. He can play them in basically whatever combination he wants.
So Azorius Charm with Thalia.
That might mean we're planning to go with Unsummon, make a Spirit, and keep the Angel in the back, but I don't really like that line. I would rather just Angel. The reason this play is kind of odd is because if we were going to go, Angel on our Augur and Azorius Charm something, then it would just make more sense to go Augur blocks Thalia, Azorius Charm the Loxodon Smiter, and then at the end of the turn, Angel the Augur for value.
Sure.
So that seems to indicate he has a different block than that one in mind, or plans to hold his counterspell, or plans to make a series of bounce spells.
It looks like he put the Augur in front of a Geist.
I don't think he's actually blocked with it yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has or just moved it over.
I think he's considering putting the Angel into play to block the Geist. Thing is, he doesn't really want to open himself up here. Oh, is he just going to be icy to... He's putting himself dead to a Selesnya Charm again, is what it looks like. Other than the unsummons, if he goes for the Angel. I don't think he can cast Angel if this is the line he's going to take. Not really.
Unsummon on the Geist, that's an odd one to unsummon.
I agree.
And take the 2 from the Pilgrims, and Augur dies.
I think I would have preferred my line of Azorius Charm the Smiter, put the Augur of Bolus in front of Thalia, and just hold open mana. And take 5. You go to 3, but you can do basically whatever you want with all of your open mana.
I don't know if I'm totally sold on your plan, but I feel like if you're gonna unsummon something, not the 2-drop haste creature, you maybe unsummon the 3-drop that doesn't have haste, make him at least have to recast that. Not that it matters here, because Chris already attacked, so, and he has plenty of mana. It might not matter too much at all, but...
Yep, we're gonna send those 2 restos, and we're gonna lean on our 3rd resto to likely close the deal out next turn. We're still pretty in really good shape, because we still have Unsummon, Azorius Charm, Restoration Angel for this turn, unless our opponent recasts Thalia.
And everybody in from Chris.
He didn't recast the Thalia.
He has Thalia in hand.
There's really no reason to not recast the Thalia. It just makes your opponent...
It makes all those defensive spells just kind of clog up in his hand, potentially. But, well, I'm going to unsummon your Smiter for 1.
Than it should have been.
Yeah. And
block.
Put a Spirit in front of your Geist. Sure.
Damage, take 2, go to 4, untap, kill. He's got that Angel to deal the last points. He knows every card in his opponent's hand, knows everything he can do.
I'm going to play Angel and hit you for 9, 10, potentially. And... yeah.
Yep.
So,
That
Chris
does work.
scoops him up. Going to game 2. Shane Remelt, blue-white flash.
There were some interesting combat steps in that game, not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't looking great for Shane early on, and there was the window there for Chris, but could not capitalize on it. So now we're back in the booth. I
Hello.
wonder why. Why could we have possibly come back?
Is there
to the
something
booth?
that we do during these?
There is
these
actually.
matches?
I'm glad you asked.
Oh. Well, you're welcome, Joey.
So we're gonna give away, as we always do, 3 months of free StarCityGames.com premium access,
Which is an even better value now
yeah,
than
actually,
it once was.
It's even better, absolutely. All you need to do is tweet your answer to our trivia question, which you're about to ask, and one random correct answer will win. So all you do, you tweet your answer with the hashtag SCG Premium down there at the bottom under. Yeah, can I see it? You see it down there? Down. Ooh, we're getting there. There it is. So tweet your answer with that hashtag. You don't need to tweet at SCG Live. You can just include that hashtag. You can tweet at
That way I can.
Mitt Romney, at Barack Obama.
Oh, that would
Just get
actually
that
be really
involved.
good.
Just have everybody tweeting at the the presidential candidates.
I bet Mitt reads premium. I mean, the financials, you know.
He might be very interested in the finance articles, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you just so we're gonna ask you guys a trivia question. That's how you win.
What's
Tweet
the
your
trivia
answer
question?
so the trivia question is Shane Remelt is playing a deck that is we call it Blue White Flash. It's kind of a new deck. I mentioned it has appeared in a Star City Games Standard Open before. In fact, it top-aided last week. The designer of the deck is who top-aided, in fact. Who is that? Who designed Blue White Flash? Tweet your answer. You could be a lucky winner of 3 months of SCG Premium.
It's a challenging question.
Yeah, you're not allowed to enter.
I'm not
by the
allowed to
way.
enter? Oh, man.
I am, though. I actually know the answer.
It's a good thing I get to write off business expenses like premium.
So, Chris Jabr down a game with green-white aggro. How does he?
How's he going to sideboard?
Yeah, how's he sideboard?
good
How does he
question.
try to take down the next 2 games?
I like his Dryad Militants. Those are real sweet in this matchup as they mitigate the power of Snapcaster Mage significantly.
Absolutely.
Beyond that, I kind of the fourth Thalia is a definite given, and I'm kind of interested in these Faith Shields, to be honest. I don't know if I would want both. I could see running one though, because it's real awesome in these situations where your opponent's trying to set up like a Restoration Angel situation or an Azorius Charm situation, and you just very casually say no, attack you for lethal.
Yeah.
I like that.
Definitely seems like it could come in handy in certain spots, especially like we saw in that game. He had a pretty good aggressive
Several
start,
windows where he
and
could've
yeah, he could
Faith
have
Shielded.
with a Faith Shield. He may have had that game.
The other big thing is that his more expensive cards like Wolfear Silverheart are significantly worse against a deck packing like Syncopate, Dissipate, etc. when he has no Cavern of Souls. So siding out some of these expensive cards to make his opponent's counter magic worse, bring in some cheaper spells, some spells that actually disrupt his opponent's defenses, a little better than just trying to jam Giant Creature after Giant Creature.
Sure. On Shane's side, well, for one thing, that Dryad Militant also deals very well with Runechanter's Pike.
Oh, very good.
Keeps
Very
the
good.
Runechanter's Pike under control. Now they're not. It's like if there's already instants and sorceries there,
Yeah.
they're not removed. But once they go, like the Runechanter's Pike can't
True.
get any bigger, so that's something to keep
I think
in
if
mind
I'm
too.
Shane, I would probably be considering removing my pikes, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
Because they're not very good at defending my life total, which when I'm on the draw is going to be priority 1.
Sure.
And considering my opponent could just open on a Militant that I have literally like no way in my deck to actually kill beyond like ambushing it in combat with a flash creature, that's going to make my pike a lot weaker too. So
I actually, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think this deck, which is already pretty heavy leaning towards a control deck, just tries to get a little more control-y. The Pike is not a control card very much, but so you do have access in the board to 2 more Supreme Verdicts, which definitely come in here. 3 copies of Detention Sphere, I could see him bringing those in, just more ways to deal with his opponent's guys. Breaking up the soul bonds is always
I think
always
that
good.
if I'm Shane, I'm probably cutting a Rewind, the
Yeah,
2
just-
pikes, at least 1 Think Twice, and then going with like 2 Verdict, the erase maybe to get rid of Rancor, like having one of those is kind of nice, and at least one detention sphere. I think I would want to go 2. I don't think I would want to go 3 because it's not a very efficient answer.
Right, and it's
to
again
Chris's creatures.
Thalia will make it cost 4, which is kind of rough. But then again, if you hit 4 lands and you're holding Supreme Verdict, and you'd love to have a detention sphere in hand at that point.
If you actually look at Chris's creatures, very few of them cost 3 or more mana. Well, I should say very few of them cost more than 3 mana.
Right.
A lot of the ones you want to kill are on par with Detention Sphere, but like you said, a Thalia is going to make it so that you're getting bad value. Detention Sphere doesn't answer a lot of the creatures on the turn that come into play, like Silverblade Paladin and Sublime Archangel. Those guys will be able to generate value even if you immediately remove them. And there's also the fact that you're bringing in Wraths, which means you don't really want to lean so hard on 1-for-1 removal spells, because then you're not getting value out of your Wrath.
Right.
If you're not killing 2 creatures with it, then, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, good point. Oh, there we have the boards in front of us.
Yeah, Shane will want to slow down the game. That's how he's going to play his tempo spells. I think he did a pretty reasonable job of doing it in the last game.
I wonder if he brings in another Sphinx's Revelation. I know that sounds kind of weird because we're talking about him maybe going smaller, but that life gain, and it seems like such a good card.
I wouldn't fault him for it. I think I would definitely do that on the play. On the draw, I'm a little less.
Okay,
On the play, a small Sphinx's Revelation can actually be a pretty big game when you put your opponent, like in that game where you put Chris on the defensive for a couple turns where he just couldn't attack. Those turns, Sphinx's Revelation would have just won the game on the spot.
Revelation for 3 cards is drawing that many cards and gaining that much life. I'm just so impressed with that card.
It is generally regarded as one of the better cards in Standard this time. It took a little while to catch on.
Yeah.
I know that I've always liked it. I managed to win a mulligan to 4 and limited at GP, or to 5 and limited at GP Philadelphia off of a Sphinx's Revelation in that 5.
Yeah, fixes mulligans pretty well later in the remember earlier when I mulliganed? Draw 7.
You can lose a lot of momentum in a game, and Sphinx's Revelation not only gives you the cards to fight back, but it also gives you the life to recover all of your lost time.
It's pretty impressive. So Shane looks like he's going to 6. Chris appears to be happy with his 7. So a little bit of a switch. I believe Chris went to 6 last game. Shane kept his 7. So Shane on the draw is going to be able to make up that mulligan.
No, it looks like we've got a report from the floor. William Yowell.
Yes.
2 games to 0 against Max Madrigal. So
that is a Jund versus Blue-White Geist matchup.
One Geist deck out of this top 8.
Yeah.
Done.
There are several. Well, there's 2 Blue-White-Red decks, and then there was one just Blue-White Geist, and that was Max's deck. So
and we also have Shane who sideboards Geists.
Yes. I mean, you can call it a Geist deck, I guess. It's just
I wouldn't,
it's very much. Adam Prozac may actually fly to Dallas to exact revenge, for us calling this deck a Geist deck. So we're gonna say we would not call it a Geist deck. But
it's accurate, I think.
Yeah.
Max's deck was a pretty peculiar take on Blue-White. Ran a lot of sweepers alongside his Geist of St. Traps. I'm real curious to see how it actually worked out. Might put that one together on Moto, just play a few games, see how to run it. I'm thinking you play your sweepers and then your Geist maybe is the plan, but I don't know. It's kind of peculiar. Or maybe he's just playing it as Hero's Demise.
Well, turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim is a nice start for Chris Jabr.
Ooh, Shane just peeled an Augur of Bolus. Very casually our perfect turn 2.
Seems like a nice card.
One of the downsides to being on the draw is that we actually can't always play an Augur Bolus on turn 2 because we have to fear things like Sublime Archangel ruining our life on turn 3 now. Shane unsurprisingly passes to hold open that Essence Scattering.
It appears he did keep in Rewind. That looks like a rewind to you.
I'm a little surprised, especially on the draw where it's much worse.
Yeah. So not Augur of Bolus, Azorius Charm puts the Loxodon Smiter on top, and Chris says, I have a second one. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to show you a third copy, which happens to look a lot like the first copy.
Keeping the pressure up over here.
Yeah, so Augur of Bolus from Shane.
Note that now that he's seen Chris miss a land drop, he knows Chris can't possibly Sublime Archangel in this turn, so he might as well just play his Augur of Bolus. In fact, if he holds open mana, he knows Chris is going to cast an uncounterable 3-drop creature. That's not going to be very good against Essence Scatter, right?
So Augur finds, I believe, Unsummon there.
Yeah.
We have a match.
We have another match.
Not a match result, just a game result.
Just a game result. Darren Menard on Blue-White-Red is up 1 game to 0
over
against
Gabriel
Wojak. Womack. I'm sorry. Gabriel is playing humans.
Yes.
And finished, I believe, in Seed 1 overall.
So that Augur jumped in front of the Loxodon Hierarch. I'm not Hierarch, Loxodon Smiter, and Chris plays a second Smiter.
Confusing number of elephants.
Yes.
Yep.
We just need a noble Smiter to.
Chris is falling a little bit behind here. Now he's stuck with all these counter spells, and his opponent has 9 power in play.
I believe you mean Shane is falling behind.
Or sorry, Shane. You're correct.
Well,
that's not where we want to be.
Representing Angel. Still at a healthy 20.
The problem is that representing Angel against a bunch of 4/4s is not even a threat.
Yeah, it's not that
Chris
great.
is going to very happily attack.
Sure, yeah. There's no reason why not to. We have a Geist, not of Saint Draft.
Yeah. This is going to give Shane a nice opportunity. He's going to get to Essence Scatter the Stranglerist, and he's going to also get to unsummon or Azorius Charm, whatever his heart desires, away a Loxodon Smiter. I imagine he'll be Azorius Charming. Azorius Charm is a card you often want to hold so that you can use its lifelink functionality when you're getting into these big holes. But I think that in this game, with no pike, no creature, we're probably not playing a lifelink.
Yeah, that was a gain 4 life right there, I think. So it was kind of like lifelink.
Yeah.
It was like gain 4, also affect your opponent's next draw step and make him recast his guy.
Shane's just hoping for no creature, but we have another one. Oh no, it's Arborelf. A monster. Oh, Shane is hoping to rewind the next spell, except that it's going to be a Loxodon Smiter, so that's not going to work.
Yeah, he does have that unsummon.
I think we probably have to unsummon and Sphinx. Well, we can Sphinx for 2 and hold the unsummon. I don't know. We're losing a lot of life at this point, but we need to find some action, and Sphinxing for 1 is not really very likely to do that.
Yeah, it's a really the weakest revelation. It was like the Sphinx revealed, the end of Sixth Sense. Like everybody knows that.
5 is basically the only spot where Sphinx's revelation is significantly below the par of Thought Flare.
Yeah.
So.
Like, what kind of revelation was that? I already knew that.
Chris, don't cast any spells. Just attack. It's cool, man. What's the worst that could happen, right?
I mean...
Yep, we're sending the squad.
Not the whole squad.
Pilgrim holding back. Interesting.
Unsummon on the Smiter.
Unsummon that Smiter.
And I think Shane will take 1 from the Arbor Elf. I think he's fine with that. That unsummon was kind of like a gain 4 life too.
Loxodon Smiter.
Ooh, he has an endless supply of Loxodon Smiters. It's weird. But he can never have more than 2 and play at the same time.
Oof. Augur Bolus. We need this to hit or we're like basically
he hit
dead.
Dissipate for sure. Just Dissipate.
It's a reasonable hit. It had to be a spell because none of our other ones did anything once we went below 5 mana. So now we're passing. We're going to take... Probably we just take the 4 this time and hold our Augur, hoping Restoration Angel can help us dig out.
He does not have an Angel though, so... Dissipate on the Rancor.
Yeah, but that's going to let us, Chris, I should say, resolve Sigarda, Host of Herons.
Ooh.
Which I imagine he'll be pretty excited to resolve.
Yeah.
Sigarda trumps everything Shane can do in the air without a Runechanter's Pike, and we surmise that he very likely boarded them out. So that's going to be a big deal. Once she's in play, she's not going anywhere else.
Yeah, well, he does have Supreme Verdicts.
That's true. Post-board, he does have access to the Wrath, which he needs to draw right now.
Yeah, pretty much. He's in deep trouble.
We can survive 1 more hit. We'll be think twicing and then flashbacking it, or just casting our Sphinx's Revelation for 2. Either way, drawing 2 cards to try and find some.
Tapping out, drawing 2. He will, get 2 life out of using the Sphinx's Revelation,
which you may have to do just to protect from Strangleroot Geist. That's a very real concern. Beyond that, you can usually Wrath safely, but because of the haste creature, yeah. You're going to chump block the 4/4 and take 7, so as long as Chris doesn't add any more damage to the board, you actually don't have to blow your Sphinx's Revelation this turn, unless you really want to. Unless your opponent plays a Strangleroot Geist post-combat, of course, but that doesn't seem very likely.
No, I don't think so. Selesnya Charm would have been nice there. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and go with the Sphinx's Revelation anyway. So he's going to go back up to 5 here, draw 2 cards.
We need Supreme Verdict.
I don't dislike that. He did
So
not
not a
draw a
Supreme
Supreme Verdict, but it could still be on the top.
Actually, to be fair, we can now think twice and potentially hit a Supreme Verdict as well. But we drew an Augur Bolus, so that's not going to be on our plan. It's just strictly better to play. Well, I guess it's not strictly better.
Yeah, I mean,
considering we're dead anyway.
Yeah, if he augurs into a Supreme Verdict, that's,
We're passing turn? What's our plan?
Yeah, that's a good question. He's got Snapcaster. I didn't see that.
Yep, but I don't know what that does against that 5/4 flyer in the air.
Snapcaster. Yeah, this is real weird.
Yeah, I think we had to just think twice and put ourselves on Supreme Verdict or bust.
Yeah, I don't know. He may have realized he was thinking, maybe he was thinking he could Azorius Charm Sigarda, but Sigarda's got hexproof, so.
Now we did.
Yeah, he's like, oops. Now that I've resolved Snapcaster, I'm assuming he didn't choose a target.
Well, we'll think twice.
Maybe he's just going.
Now let's see if the Supreme Verdict was even there in the first place. Was it? No.
It was an unsummon.
Nothing mattered. We have ceased to be.
Yeah, I can't imagine what he's thinking here. What he could possibly do.
Maybe he's just trying to make Chris think he sideboarded something he didn't. I don't know. I don't think there's anything that he could have. No,
I don't
nothing
know.
there.
Yeah, so
we're dead.
Not sure what Shane was thinking there. I think just trying to dig as far as you could was the plan, and he kind of did that. I don't think he really would have hit the Supreme Verdict anyway.
Looks like we got a little friendly banter we're missing out on.
Yeah. I'm assuming he brought in the verdicts. I mean,
yeah, I think that's safe to
have.
say. I can't imagine he didn't either. A little aggressive to not. I'm surprised the Rewind stayed in on the draw. I think it's a fine card to have on the play. You get a lot of value out of being able to represent Angel and having Rewinds at the same time. But on the draw, it's just a 4-mana counterspell. Like you saw that game, it just literally did nothing, rotted in his hand as he got beat to death.
Yeah.
It's not good.
We have another matchup. Looks like
Bong Ho and James Lance are going to Game 3. That's a blue-white-red deck against Reanimator. James Lance on Reanimator.
Yeah, Reanimator seeing a lot of play, just since rotation. And it's funny because you look at, what are they reanimating with? Unburial Rites, which has been around for a year.
Yeah.
It's just like the guys that you can reanimate now are kind of sick.
Fawn came prepared. Scott has purified the graves in the sideboard, so maybe Game 3 will be a happy one for him.
Yeah, not sure who won which game.
Yeah, it's always interesting. The Geists are not that good against Reanimator, and that deck can muster things like Centaur Healer into Thragtusk, and you're just doing basically nothing with your Geist of St. Traphs. So unless you have ways to clear those creatures efficiently, and there really aren't very many since they gain life when they come into play.
Yeah, it's funny, this weird kind of situation with Geist of St. Traft where it's like seems so good if they can't deal with it, it's like they can't put something in front of it, but so many decks are playing cards like Centaur Healer or just cards that get right in front of it pretty easily, and it makes it look so bad, and so it just seems like it's awesome or it's awful.
Accurate.
We've seen it steal games even today. I think it was Ben Johnston was his name, I think, playing earlier. His opponent was playing it was Tony Lay playing the Lantern control deck, and he just landed a Geist and smashed his face. It was that was it. And I think if he didn't play the Geist, he would have given Tony an opportunity to get into the game. So it's one of those ones that's like it punishes you if you stumble or just can't answer. But
sure.
I don't know. It's like I like it the way Adam Prosak decided to deal with it. Just play it in the board for opposing Geists. It's like respecting the other Geist, but he has no interest in using it as a threat. It's like the 3-mana Phantasmal Image. So it looks like these guys are finished sideboarding. Now they're just trying to get their shuffle on. I wonder if Chris did bring in the Dryad Militants. Excuse me.
I can't imagine he didn't.
We didn't see any, but There are only 2 in the board.
They're like a
None
mediocre
named.
card against Augur of Bolus, but if your opponent doesn't have Augur of Bolus, they're awesome. And even if he does, it's like a semi-rest in peace, so... Rest in peace is actually strangely frustrating for the blue-white flash deck. I actually played against it online, and when my opponent played it against me, I thought, what a waste of his sideboarding. Like, he just sideboarded out a card that actually does something for this random graveyard hate card. But, you know, it was actually pretty frustrating to play against, and it had a wide-ranging effect on the game. If he had brought it in during Game 2, this was Game 3, it would have certainly affected my sideboarding in Game 3. I would have likely removed some of my reliance on the graveyard in order to try and hedge against it, because
So
it was
you were playing with
impactful.
the blue-white flash deck?
Yeah.
And you, I mean, it really just takes out the pikes and takes out the snapcasters, and it takes out the Moreland Haunt.
I don't think it's correct to take out everything. You
I
can't.
don't mean take out. I mean it deals with.
Oh yeah.
It nullifies Moreland Haunt. It nullifies
makes a lot of those cards
Snapcaster and
significantly worse.
Runechanter's Pike. So it actually it makes a lot of sense. Thought Scour, is.
Historically, this has been like a losing proposition to do against like decks like Delver, but that deck is not Delver. So the graveyard hate strategy is actually a little bit more effective. Shane with a Hallowed Fountain, into play tapped. Correct. Temple Garden, no 1-drop for Chris.
Both players with the old school Ravnica Shocklands.
Shane being on the play for Game 3 is a nice advantage. I'm sure he's quite happy about it. It makes all of his counterspells better, like this Syncopate.
Yeah, Syncopate on Chris Jabr's attempted turn 2 Thalia. And it looks like Shane's pretty well set up. He can go Augur here, and he does.
Augur of Bolus, Supreme Verdict, and lands. Not bad for Shane.
Finds Azorius Charm, bottoming another Azorius Charm and a Plains.
You know, with this hand, I might have even considered allowing Thalia to resolve. This hand could play through one pretty well. With just playing turn 2 Augur of Bolus, they play Thalia, you don't care, you untap, you still have Syncopate up for their next spell, unless it's a Lockstone Smiter, but then you're planning a Supreme Verdict anyway.
Yeah.
So you'll take a little damage, but you don't have to burn your counterspell there, and I think you eke a little bit more value out of the removal spell.
I see your point. I think if I'm Shane, though, and I
it's
have an
debatable.
opportunity to
It's
deal
an
with
interesting
Thalia,
line.
just deal with it. You know, like you have
Sure.
the opportunity. Also, sometimes Syncopate just becomes like a dead card later on, so just use it when you have the window to use it against a Thalia. Like that's what I would have done as well.
I think it's generally correct, but it's an interesting line.
Sure.
This is awkward because Shane would probably prefer to have a second Supreme Verdict against this matchup, but once he has one, it'll affect Chris's play to know that there's one in his hand, and having two against an opponent who's actively playing around Supreme Verdict could be even worse.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, yeah.
I think I would probably take the Verdict and plan to just, play them in quick succession, because Chris is obviously going to, probably overextend once you play one. But he's going to go with the Dissipate. Just find it increases the range of his hand and also obscures the actual Supreme Verdict.
Right.
But that's a strange position to find yourself in.
Stupid Augur of Bolus. Now, Augur's actually doing some work in this match.
Augur of Bolus is a sweet card, Joey. You watch yourself. Won't have you besmirching my good merfolk friend.
Well, the Augur's not looking too bad here. Earlier in the day, though, earlier in the day, it was looking like a 1-3 that did nothing else, and that's not that impressive.
Darren wins 2-0.
We've got an update from the floor. Darren Menard 2-0 over Gabriel Womack. So the first seed has been summarily eliminated from the tournament. 2-0.
Blue, white, red, Geist.
Darren's one of the stronger players in the field for sure. He has a couple top 8s on the Open Series himself. Not shocked to see him performing. This is a strange block. I would much rather, I think, just take 4. Keep my Augur around, because when the Strangler Geist attacks again, I can double block with 2 Augurs, and my opponent has to do something.
Yeah, well, Shane chump blocks the Smiter with 1 Augur and gets in front of the Geist with the other Augur.
Looks like he did bring in at least 1 Detention Sphere. He's got it now. I think you make that chump block if your plan is to Supreme Verdict this turn anyway, but I don't think that's his plan. He wants to wait until he can Supreme Verdict and then pass with Counter Magic mana open.
Right.
That would be the dream scenario.
Yeah, keep the board clear. And there's a Thalia.
Well, now we may just be Supreme Verdicting anyway, because we're not going to be able to run our counter magic plan when we have to pay 5 for Supreme Verdict.
He could scatter here if he wants to hold the verdict longer.
I think
He
that's
also
a
could
weak play,
dissipate.
but it's fine.
But
I think that if we counter, we probably want to go Dissipate and then Azorius Charm this Smiter to just delay our opponent significantly. That'll alleviate a lot of the beatdown you're experiencing. Keep in mind, our opponent knows that we have a Dissipate.
yeah, like
So we
you
don't
wanna
want to
give him
reveal the
just-
second counter.
exactly.
We've already given away that we have 2 just by all of the thought we've made.
Well, he lets it resolve.
He's going to
And,
chump. His
yeah.
plan is to Supreme Verdict
Yeah,
this board. He
verdict
has
time.
abandoned it. And Chris should pass the turn and not commit anything else. Yep. Passes the turn, and Shane's going to cycle the Azorius Charm the end step. It's an aggressive cycle. Not sure how much I like it.
Draws Augur of Bolus, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Augur
Yep.
off the top. And Island.
I don't think our Supreme Verdicts are getting any better. It's unfortunate our opponent found a Thalia, because otherwise we'd be just verdicting and then Essence scattering the next guy, but we can play Augur to buy 1 more turn, but we're still hoping to peel a land, and we don't actually have a way to find a land. Like, none of our cards will draw one.
Right.
So we just have to naturally draw a land during our draw step, otherwise we're taking damage unnecessarily and losing a little bit of value by throwing away yet another Augur Bolus.
Well, I think, yeah, obviously you verdict here. You do have a detention sphere
Yeah.
for something, if something, you know, is that big of a problem.
We can handle the follow-up. It's not that
Yeah.
bad.
So, Supreme Verdict deals with everything on Chris's side of the board, and we are once again clear skies for both
End
players.
step 2/2 Knight. Oh, the beats
Ooh.
continue.
Very
Selesnya
nice.
Charm displaying some versatility right
Yeah, yeah. All right, so in with the 2/2 Knight from Chris.
That's unfortunate. Chris really would want to have an Angel or a Silverblade Paladin on that turn to capitalize on Shane being tapped out. Since he didn't have anything, Shane knows Chris could have cast basically any card in his entire deck that turn
Yeah.
and chose not to.
Yeah,
That means Chris
Didn't have the
probably
choice,
doesn't
yeah.
have any cards in his entire deck. He just
Yeah.
has lands. If his 2 cards aren't lands or like land other Selesnya Charm, I'd be pretty surprised. That's like the best case scenario is his hand is a second Selesnya Charm,
sure, sure.
which is still very mediocre.
So Augur of Bolus finds Think Twice, Syncopate, or Thought Scour, and Shane goes with the Think Twice. Wants to dig a little further.
At this point, he just wants to find an Angel to start clocking his opponent, or perhaps, if he did keep them in, a Pike to make that Augur a real threat.
We're being attacked by a Xanthi
We're being
Swarm
attacked by
again.
a crazy fly. Actual, in your face,
In Glenn's face, anyway. Now it's in my face.
doesn't
I
care,
don't think I got it.
has no regard for its own life or anyone else's.
Kamikaze fly. So
Locks
it
on
on
Smiter.
Smiter, and that's gonna.
It's going to resolve, for one thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, is he trying to scatter that? Yeah. Think Twice, and Think Twice with Flashback.
I'm not going to lie, I have countered one of the uncounterable spells. It's only happened once. I was playing multiple games, not paying attention. It was
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I was playing against a friend. He played it, and I'm like, what's this other ability I forgot? And I'm like, that's the one that's uncounterable. In my head, I'm like, I can't remember. Is that the one that's uncounterable? Like, I didn't want to pretend like I had a counter spell. I just wanted to make it like, yeah, I knew it was uncounterable. I'm trying to remember the other ability.
Restoration Angel has given Shane the offensive threat he requires. It shouldn't be too difficult to mop up the game from this point. Oh, he's putting a Runechainer's Pike on the bottom. He did keep him in. They're not even that good since he's only got like 3 instants, but he can obviously burn several to fill the yard if he needs to.
Yeah, well,
And
finds
step
an unsummon,
on summon that night.
deals with the Knight.
I think that this is the end step, right? Or am I a little confused?
I thought so.
I imagine it should, or I guess it should be combat probably. Or, yeah, it was combat.
Oh, okay, that makes
Okay.
sense, yeah. And here come both dudes from Shane.
Augur of Bolus, also no regard for its own life.
Did I get it? Sorry, is that really loud? I'm not sure.
The directors are becoming rapidly exasperated, but this fly is aggressive. I'm sorry.
There is a Strangleroot Geist.
Looks like blue-white-red over Reanimator, Fong 2-1 against James Lance.
That's 2 blue-white-red decks into the quarters, or semis. Top 4. Strangleroot Geist appears to be still on the stack here. No, it resolves. And Smiter, Geist, both coming down.
Snapcaster Mage on an Azorius Charm. That'll do.
Yeah.
I imagine we'll just bounce the Smiter.
Yeah.
We're just trying to race at this point, and we're winning. So.
Yeah, Shane's gonna take 2 from the Geist.
We can untap and Detention Sphere the Strangler Geist. But if that was our line, I think I might consider just to counter the Strangler Geist, untap Detention Sphere the Smiter, you know?
Sure, yeah, I don't think he needs to do that. I think he's fine
The opponent completely.
here where he's just...
That said, there is merit to putting cards you know aren't threats on top of the opponent's deck. So he's going to leave the Augur Bolus back. This removes the necessity of any Detention Sphering, and he can just plan to block and then Detention Sphere the Smiter later.
Yeah, he's got a second...
I like his line better, actually, now that I think about it.
Loxodon Smiter resolves. Yes. Hits the stack,
It's
goes
fun to
directly
say.
through the stack.
Lands. He's very heavy.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Elephants.
Another Azorius
You seem
Charm.
to
This
be
is just
heavy.
getting graphic. Shane is drawing a lot more spells than Chris, and it's leading to a pretty lopsided game, but you have to keep in mind, Shane's deck's designed to draw a lot more spells than Chris's. It has all the card advantage. Its spells are even debatably better.
Rancor on the Strangleroot Geist.
I'm sure that'll work. I'm not sure that'll work at all, Joey.
Yeah, it gets dissipated.
Keep in mind, we had the option of Snapcaster Mage Unsummon there, and we dissipated instead. That's how far ahead we are. We just don't need to take the free rolls.
And Azorius Charm again to put the Loxodon
Yeah.
Smiter back on
With
top.
multiple Snapcasters in our hand, that's basically Shane's plan now, is to just stack the top of Chris's deck until the game is over.
Yeah. That is a pretty sick plan. Loxodon Smiter surprise. Falls directly through the stack again. Onto the table.
I think there might have even been some merit to attacking with our Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious
so that
about
we could
that too.
Azorius Charm the blocking Strangler Geist if it did in fact block. It's basically more of the same, right? Like it amounts to the exact same difference.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think it's
Our opponent's just locked. The Angel.
and Chris actually gets a fresh card, and it's
Thalia.
Thalia.
Not good enough.
And Shane Remelt with blue-white flash on to the semifinals.
Yep.
And that's 3 blue decks in the semifinals.
Well, I switched